Amen. Wow. You can sit down, gentlemen. But I think it would also be in order to sing the national anthem. Chair, I think it is prudent, and now we have Commissioner there. She will report us to the President. So members stand up and we sing the national anthem. It's in order. Mr. Ezra, please lead us the East African anthem and the East African anthem. The short version of East African anthem.
We begin with the East African anthem.
No, we national.
For Uganda,
May God uphold you. We lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we always stand.
one stanza of the East African anthem.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe uishi wa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Wonderful. You are now good citizens. You can now sit down. Members, I want to say thank you so much for coming. And first and foremost, I want to recognize the President of the country, whom we met on 16th May, and we were able to brief him of the need to have a collective response and engagements of the leaders of the Ministry of Education. And immediately we had a meeting with some of the leaders here, and we said, I think sort of people are memory of coming together to, teamwork and share a vision. And so from there we can have a new country birthed or developed from each one's response. In love of our country, in the patriotism that is exhibited here, I believe each one of you will love what we're going to share today. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for the partnership we have had for many years with most of you and with partners. But I also want to thank those leaders that were in those offices before you came in. Dr. Subuga, we started this journey with him in 2010, and we also had presentation in State House those many years. We want to say thank you for your hard work. And Chair, allow me now to introduce, because it is very critical that members know each other who's in the house. I'll first and foremost, introduce our speaker today. A man of integrity, a man of good character, a man who is leading education transformation across the globe. His name, actually we call him the son of Uganda, because he loves Uganda so much. And because he loves Uganda, of course, and Kenya, when he started with His Excellency Mwai Kibaki working with us, and he has committed to be here and work with us. One of his students, thank you, Mama. You remember his trainings, you have attended some of the trainings, including the PS. 15 years we have been working together. So it's not new to some of the leaders, but we want now to start a journey of the unity amongst ourselves, working together. We can have they call it a task force at the end of the day. Yes, why not? And then we unite the Kenyans, the Ireland, the Americans, a task force, a global task force, towards now radically transforming education, especially in the global south. His name is Dr. Tony Van. He's the lead facilitator for today, and we'll give him opportunity. He's basically the Vice President of Global Peace Foundation International, and he's leading the education division. He has over 40 years of NGO leadership, spearheading education transformation as a cornerstone for moral and innovative leadership. That is very critical to note, moral and innovative leadership. So, he has also been collaborating with ministries of education in different governments, including Uganda, Kenya, and the other countries I'll talk about, but also looking at how we can prepare societies for peace and prosperity through the pathway of education. Of course, I will not forget the universities that he has helped to transform their education outcomes, and these include those in Kenya, in the Philippines, of course in Uganda. Movies is one of them, Makerere University, it's called International University of East Africa, the others that we will talk about. India, those many universities in India, in Paraguay, and beyond. He aligns curricular workforce needs, that is now NCDC, cultivating virtuous citizenship within the frameworks, because that's very critical in the curriculum development process. His blueprint for transforming education reshapes systems across numerous countries in the global south, impacting countless educators, schools, and administrators like you. So that's the work that Dr. Tony is doing all his life. He doesn't know any other job apart from that one. It is good you discovered your blessing when you're still a young man. So key programs include that he has developed and is running. One is Character and Creativity Initiative. And we thank Kenya from 2010, which was launched by His Excellency Mwai Kibaki when he hosted the Global Peace Convention. Another one is fostering ethical leadership within the government Ministry of Education workforce, in schools, in companies, and in different entities. He has also established the LEAP hubs, the leadership and entrepreneurship hubs, across the different countries and the schools where he's supporting. Igniting entrepreneurship. Yes. You have this copy? You have it. So yes, his advice, because we're on time. We have to be in time. You will read the rest from that advice. So as the president, of course, of Ireland and the GPF Ireland, and also the vice president of Global Peace Foundation, he believes that training or capacity building is necessary to reawaken us and remind us of the constitutional mandates we have in government. I think that is a very critical statement, because many times we know what to do, but we need someone to remind us of what we already know. So please, colleagues, don't say that Dr. Tony is coming with, he's just coming to pump us what we don't know. We already know some of these things, but it is always good to have someone to remind us. So he's also a member of the OECD, which is an international agency, and it guides governments on education transformation, the consultancy agency. But now here we are talking about the transforming education towards 2050 agenda. So colleagues, I want to stress this page. Dr. Tony, you're highly welcome. And I will say that at the end of this training, we will have a relationship. We can build a relationship right away. I wanted just to introduce you. I now want to introduce my colleague to stand up and introduce himself. Then we can move very quickly. Your name, your department. Your name and your department. I think you've got to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Milton. Thank you, everyone. My name is Daniel Juma Omondi. I come from Kenya. I am the Africa Regional Representative of the Global Peace Foundation. And I'm happy to join you here today. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Ezra Okomeka. I serve as the Country Director of Family Peace Association Uganda.
My name is Agari Giovanni. I serve as the Department of Finance in the Peace Foundation Uganda.
Education coordinator and also a Reverend. Chairperson Education Committee, Sobakindo, and Chief Princess Sobakindo.
Reverend Christopher is my name. I come standing for the Director of Education Services, Church of Uganda, Susan Temple, to attend because of an assignment. Reverend Christopher, Assistant Specialist.
NCDC Subject is my name. I work as a Principal Education Officer, Guidance and Counseling Department. I'm standing in for my commissioner. Is actually doing for some other workshop. Very passionate counselor of the young. They even named me Mama when I was a teacher. I worked for 22 years and then I joined the ministry. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, members, and good afternoon. I'm called Richard Yumba. I'm the Deputy Director at NCDC, and I'm standing for the Director who is out of station for another official engagement. You're welcome.
Fellow members, one of them, Commissioner for Planning and Administration and Sports.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called John Hara Havialegi. This is my workstation. I'm in charge of human resource and administration.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Uri Philip. I'm the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Strategic Union. So I wait for you now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Stephen Creedy, Manager of Finance.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is General Azinda. I'm cultural specialist in charge of special needs education.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stephen Chirinya, and I'm representing my manager, who is unable to be here, National Graduates. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sobakindo, my name. I work at the National Development Center, Manager of Development Skills and
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Pamela Nzimana. I work as a manager of research and consultancy at NCDC. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Angela. I'm in charge of credit assurance here at SME.
My name is Edie Mubarak. I'm the officer in charge of inclusive education in KCCA. But today I'm presenting this public education services in Uganda.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. By the name is Reverend Stephen, a curriculum specialist at NCDC in the Rifle and Co-curricular Department.
I now see members, you know each other now. I want to say once again, you're welcome. So now we are going to agenda number 3, the overview. And the objective of this meeting, shortly, just 1-2 minutes, I've been highlighting already. One is that colleagues, the country is undergoing very serious issues. And I think it is right time for us to put our heads together. Putting heads together means to think without the box in the mouth. Some people say, think, you know, you may go back to the box. This time we want to think without the box. Because I think we are in the comfort. And so the country has very important challenges that require us, all of us, to take ownership of them, to know that we are the causes of those problems because we are not coming together and putting our systems together. So colleagues, NRM has no answer to these problems because they also base and depend on what we cook in the kitchen. And so youth unemployment is one of them, colleagues. It's a challenge before us, a good challenge to us. Through the conflict in the country, conflicts all over, people's mindset and behavior towards the environment. These are mountains that are there for us to work together and tackle. Nobody's going to fix these issues. I'm very happy that Usoga Kingdom is represented. Let's clap for her, please. Usoga Kingdom is represented. I think next time we shall have Uganda and we pray. Is coming? Oh wow, she's coming. Very good. So, Mr. Chair, these are good challenges to talk about. We should not hide about saying that these national challenges are good challenges for us to address. So, National Curriculum Development Center, all the directorates of education and the Ministry of Education, we have now to unite ourselves and support each other. And the President has no answer to the country. He's actually going to focus on what are the education institutions and these agencies cooking for him. So I would wish that we provide him what to say before the country. So colleagues, I want to say, let's clap for Mama Janet Museveni, our mother. Let's clap for her because she has tried. She has tried. She's stepping in this ministry as a minister. There are many transformational outcomes she has achieved. And now we have to reinforce the vision of Mama. She wants to tell the country no more unemployment. She wants to tell the country that the young people are the first priority and the gold of Uganda. Some people think young people are problems to Uganda. No. She wants to tell the country, please even let us have more younger people. But then the question is, how prepared are we to prepare the whole population of the country with the right education? Right education, you can have it, but you have wrong players to implement. So those are some of the issues we want to discuss today. We know the problems. I want to remind you know them. We want to discuss now, how can we now be a team working together in love? Where you say, yeah, according to my policy, we must love one another, my friend. Dr. Tony is going to talk about. Other countries are in another world. Now education is being managed by artificial intelligence. They no longer want to, which chair, what. People on other business, for us we are still here. And we cannot actually block the changes that are coming. But who is going to cause them? So that now we can rigorously transform Uganda. It's us. Poor leaders, corruption, the diseases, everything. It's us. So Dr. Tony is coming to remind us, please, can you work together? Can you share the tools you have? Where you neighbor and the NCDC is working together. Where directorate X, we must meet on a daily basis. Share on the phone, even if you call me, how's your wife, how's home? That's okay. That's the beginning, caring for each other now. Commissioner is there for counseling and guidance. Younger people are still committing suicide in the university. Can we reinforce our office? How? Where does it begin from? Here. And each one of you has an office, a boardroom. These boardrooms must be busy every day. Training, all these are our resources. So I would wish to end here and say the expected outcome of this workshop is to also discuss every 4 months. Can we have a workshop? Who's hosting? Different people must host. Different agencies. Dr. Tony should come with all other international experts with him. He's ready to do that. But who's committed? Are we united? We will look at each other as competitors, while the country is looking at us for solutions. So, another outcome, can we have every year a joint national or regional continental education summit? Because we must draw our attention to what the president is giving us, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, Africa's integration, those components. But the educators are not working together. That's why the borders are not being opened up. So Dr. Tony has good ideas. You have good ideas, want to share them today. So every year, like next year, what can we have as department? Maybe we can start as a nation. After Uganda Education Transformation Summit. Then the president and Mama come to address the country. And while you also updating him on your departmental and developmental outcomes and the challenges of budget, national budget, maybe tooling the teacher, maybe technology, competence-based educational curriculum. How shall it be delivered when the parents are just producing for schools without responsibility? Those are some of the issues. So colleagues, at the end of the day, we want also to launch the blueprint, because every nation, in every establishment of every nation state, there should be a blueprint education. Uganda doesn't have. Uganda for the last 60 plus years, since independence, we have never had a blueprint to develop the quality, the type of population we must have in the country. Here we have tribalism shaping the politics of the country. Political parties cannot even sit together. They don't have any answer to what type of education, because they cannot give us what they don't have. So you find we must do the right thing. So colleagues, I want to sit and request you that at the end of this, speak your mind. What are those issues blocking us from working together, thinking together, investing together? So, Mr. Chair, I would request you that now you receive us and give your welcoming remarks. Me, I have finished from you. Then we go to the keynote presentation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, the Master of Ceremonies. I'm sure you accepted that. Our lead facilitator for today's workshop, Dr. Tony Ivine. The Minister of Education and Sports officials who are present here today. The Global Peace Foundation team who are with us today. Members of staff of the National Curriculum Development Center who have honored the invitation to this workshop. Invited guests in your various capacities, ladies and gentlemen. As has been indicated, the purpose of this workshop is to consolidate our working relationship so that we are a family working towards a common vision of transforming education in our country. Please note that at the moment, as a country, we are confronted by challenges which we can only solve if we are united and on a daily basis advising and consulting each other. You'll note, members, that the world is shifting more to an education system that positions its population towards production using modern technologies, which enhance as well peace and prosperity. It is also on record that the 21st century employer is shifting the needs towards what we call the 21st century competencies or skills. And when the global north is looking at us as sources of raw materials, what is our readiness as a country to position ourselves to dominate the industrializing world? And the missing link in this earlier effort is our capacity to unite and bring resources together and to counter international and local challenges. The Global Peace Ambassador, Kamala Milton, for a period exceeding 15 years, has been challenging us to have radical education and transformation so that we guide government to solve the problem of youth unemployment, which has already been highlighted, or solve challenges of reducing poverty, solve challenges of moral decadence in our communities, and many other challenges which we are facing as a country and as the world. The Global Peace Foundation, with its partners, have since 2014 introduced tools that enhance student and teacher character, that enhance creativity, entrepreneurship, and leadership development. These various skills have been integrated in the current frameworks in the country, including the competency-based curriculum, but we have not yet invested in the assessment standards so that students graduate with the jobs and the right values. Therefore, members, we are here this afternoon to start a humble journey of making sure that we regularly meet, as has been highlighted, dialogue, and build our capacity to transform our education system. I wish you all good deliberations in today's workshop for God and my country. I introduced myself earlier as Dr. Richard Irumba. I'm the Deputy Director, and in this meeting I'm representing the Director of National Curriculum Development Center, Dr. Grace. I wish you all the best. So over to you, Master of Ceremony. What do you want to tell over this stage?
Now you can invite your host, your visitor, sir.
So let me take this honor to invite Dr. Tony Devin. He was introduced to the detail, and we should not waste more time by going through his own profile and achievements. So you're welcome, Dr. Tony Devin. Tony Devin.
Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing this afternoon? We have a really beautiful day out here today, right? It's really beautiful. The weather was a little colder earlier in the week, but it's warmed up. And I think our hearts are warming up here, right? And it's a great honor and privilege to be here in Uganda once again. I've been engaged with Uganda since 2010. I'm not new here at all. And Milton, in his remarks, mentioned the designation, right? Being the son of Uganda. I actually accept that. I accept it. I love Uganda, I love the Ugandan people, and I really love your students. You've got amazing students and young people here, which is really the reason we're here, right? We're here for them. This is the future of the nation. I really want to thank the Minister of Education, the First Lady, for accepting this engagement this afternoon. And Richard, I really want to thank you and my very, very good friend, Dr. Grace, who I've known from over 10 years, and NCDC for our collaboration. What we're doing here today is the beginning of a new journey. Okay, the beginning of a new journey together. So, I As you can see here on the screen, right? So we're here to go a little bit more in depth into the blueprint for transforming education, right? So education needs to be urgently transformed, and I'll explain why. And Milton mentioned, right, the need for us to collaborate together, right? To do that, for what purpose? The purpose is national transformation. So transforming education is a pathway to national transformation. In fact, all the sectors of Uganda and every nation have to be transformed. I'm going to start here. Education is like so critical. 70% of your population are young people, right? You're the envy of the United States, Japan, Korea, Europe. They only have older people now, right? But you have young people, right? Which is like an incredible blessing, an incredible responsibility that goes along with that as well, okay? So, what I'm going to ask all of us here today, right? Every single person here is to kind of have an open mind, right? Just in the next hour or so, right? And even, it might be even, I would even suggest, just forget everything you know about education, okay? Start with a blank slate. This is something I've done for many, many years, right? I lead education work around the world, and I wake up every morning with a blank slate. I pretend I know nothing about education, and that is a way I'm learning a lot, right, about what we need to do and where the world is going. So this is just a little piece of personal advice I want to share with you here this afternoon. So we want to visualize not just the future of education, but even more importantly, the purpose of education. We think we know the purpose, but I don't think we really do, right? And this will become clear as we move along here, right? So we're here in 2025, right, year 2025, and this is the dawn of a new era. And I want to take you back 125 years ago, during the second industrial revolution, right? Because at that time, around the 1900s, we saw the convergence of 5 general purpose technologies. So one was the automobile, right, the internal combustion engine. And that allowed transportation of goods and services and for people, right, to become mobile. Another one was the telephone. You kind of take this for granted, but there used to be no telephones. And there was a time when there was no automobiles, just horses, right? Mass production. Henry Ford pioneered the production line with the Model T. And since then, can you believe it that every automobile in the world, Honda, Toyota, you drive a lot, there's a lot of Toyotas here, they all are using the same production line, right, as from 125 years ago. And the next one is railroads and the steamships and steel, right? And the catalyst that allowed all of these to converge was electricity. There was a time when there was no electricity. We take it for granted, right? I grew up in a home in Ireland. I'm originally from Ireland. We did not have electricity until I was 10 years ago of age. So I know what life is like without electricity, personally, right? If you can believe that, right? Of course, I live in the United States right now, and we've got lots of electricity. Now, just in our lifetime, like catapulting forward to the last 45 years, since the 1980s, we have witnessed the 5 recent technological super cycles, right? The first one was the personal in the 1980s, right? There was a time where we only had typewriters, right? But the personal computer allowed, this was the beginning of the information age. And then those computers got connected together through the internet, right? In the 1990s. There was a time when there was no internet in our lives, okay? And then the internet and those personal computers, you didn't have to sit at your desk anymore. This was the beginning of the smartphone and the mobile revolution. So you could access this information, right, anytime, anywhere, anyhow. Then it moved, the information left our computers and our smartphones, and it moved to the cloud. Not physical clouds, but these big data centers, right? then again, you can access the information anytime. And now, right now, in the last year or two, we have started the 5th super cycle, but this is the super cycle of super cycles, right? The artificial intelligence super cycle. This does not even compare to the other 4 combined. It doesn't even compare to the 5 technological technologies of the early 1900s. This puts humanity and the world on a whole other level altogether, okay? So this is where we stand. And what we're seeing right now, right, is the convergence. By the way, the things I'm sharing with you right now, this is not entertainment, okay? It's not like, stimulating your curiosity. Everything I'm telling you has 100% direct relevance to all of you here in this room and to Uganda. This is not an American thing. This is a Uganda thing. This will impact you whether you like it or not, right? So artificial intelligence came on the scene publicly, right, through ChatGPT in 2022. Of all these technologies that I shared with you, this has the fastest adoption. Within about a week, almost 1 million people downloaded the app. This was never seen before, right? And we have public blockchain, a brand new technology. This is the technology behind cryptocurrencies, and we're heading there quick. Energy, solar energy generation, and battery storage. Huge, right? Another one is robotics. Autonomous vehicles that drive themselves, right? Robots, not just the ones in factories, but the ones that look like us, human-like robots. The world was created in the image of human beings. So now we're going to have human-like robots that will assist us and can navigate in this physical world, right? To do a lot of, monotonous things, right? And genetic mapping, right? So this brings us to a very, with this kind of background, so how is this relevant to us here today as educational leaders, right? It has a massive relevance. And I want to give you some key executive points from about half a dozen major reports that came out already this year. This is all from 2025. And I just want to cite the reports collectively together, and then give you the synopsis, right? This is about 400 pages altogether, and I'm going to give it to you in a few minutes, okay, the key points. So we're talking about the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report 2025. The Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development Employment Outlook 2025. PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is a consultancy firm in the US, Global AI Jobs Barometer 2025, the International Monetary Fund Working Paper 2025, the World Bank Jobs Report 2025, the McKinsey is another consultancy company, AI in the Workplace 2025, Deloitte, another consultancy company, Gen Z and Millennial Survey 2025, right? I would encourage you to actually read some of these reports, right? And that's why they're referenced. But let me give you the key takeaways from them. So from the World Economic Forum 2025 report, it projects that 22 to 39% of the labor market will turn over, right, by 2030. So, the education sector is working on an old paradigm. It's working on a predictable future, right? And I'll explain this in a few minutes. That's no longer a case. So how can you educate young people for the workforce when about 40% of the current jobs are going to turn over? They're not going to exist. They're going to be new types of jobs. So what kind of an education should we be giving them, right? That's the implication for us here today. And 192 million jobs will be displaced by 2030. Can you believe that? 92 million existing jobs. These are the jobs that ministries of education are educating for, by the way. You're educating for the past, okay? not just Uganda Ministry of Education, but every Ministry of Education in the world. I was in Kenya last week, working with the Ministry of Education there, and educational stakeholders. I'll be in the Philippines from next week into the week after, working with the Department of Education there and other stakeholders as well. The OECD 2025 report says that, now listen to this statistic, 1.1 billion jobs, 1.1 million, 1.1 billion jobs are going to be radically transformed by AI and technology by 2030. Now, I just want to, just let this number register for a second, 1.1 billion. There are 1.2 billion young people in the world, the largest youth population ever. They're in our education, they're in your schools right now, right? They're in our universities, they're in basic education, right? And we're educating them. By the time they graduate, right, finish high school, finish school and so on, the jobs that we educated them for are no longer going to be there, right? There's going to be new jobs, and they're not ready for them. They are not ready for them, okay? So the reason we have to collaborate together is absolutely essential, right? We have to collaborate. The Ministry of Education in any country alone cannot transform education. Global Peace Foundation alone, we cannot do it either. So the time has come, once and for all, that we have to collaborate with the private sector. In Uganda last week, at the Transforming Leadership Workshop, we had a lot of technology companies. Oracle was there, right? Oracle with OpenAI and SoftBank in Japan, they're investing $500 billion to build Stargate. This is a massive AI center in Texas, right? They're redirecting all their resources to do this, and so are all the big technology companies as well. Here are three other absolutely mind-blowing statistics, right? The International Monetary Fund and PricewaterhouseCoopers are stating that AI is affecting 40% of global jobs, with skills evolving 60% faster in exposed jobs, right? So the necessary skills that we think we're teaching them, kids for, right? It's changing so rapidly, right? According to Youth Focus from the World Bank, 1.2 billion young workers entering job markets by 2035 are facing a 780 million job creation gap. And from McKinsey and Deloitte, urgent upskilling, as much as 74 to 77% of Gen Z expect AI impact soon. That's who are in our classrooms, the tail end of Gen Z and the entire generation, the new generation of Generation Alpha, okay? So these technologies that I'm talking about here, and the kind of new jobs that are going to be coming on stream weekly, right? Not next year, the week after. This is happening so fast, right? It's going to usher in a potentially amazing future where we're going to have basic needs being met by everybody, right? Human labor is freed up, right? We're going to be doing massive space exploration. There is something going to be called a space economy, okay? Happening in our lifetime. It's already starting. Life on Earth becomes more sustainable, right? Through these technologies, okay? So the catalyst driving it all is artificial intelligence. So let me talk about intelligence for a second, right? So all of us human beings here, right? There's no human robots in the room, right? We're all human beings, so just double checking, right? So all of us real blood human beings, we have a mind, right? It's up here, okay? And we have something called biological intelligence, often referred to as IQ, intelligent quotient, right? But AI, artificial intelligence, right, is external to the human being. This is a very important point to keep in mind. It's external. And in the current state of AI, as of right now in 2025, the AI is as is as smart as a human, okay? So you know this. Have you been using ChatGPT or Grok or Claude, these AI models? Who's been using them? Are you using them every day? Every hour? Your students are using them. It's just an app on your phone, right? But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. Coming super fast by the end of 2025, 2026, AI is going to make a giant leap forward. We're going to have the entrance of artificial general intelligence, okay? This is happening by the end of this year, next year. What is artificial general intelligence? That is, the AI is smarter than any human, not as smart as. And when I say any human, all of you here in the room have serious educational credentials, correct? Otherwise you couldn't be in these jobs, right? So artificial general intelligence is smarter than each one of you, right? That's what it means, right? Even smarter than somebody with three PhDs, okay? In fact, one of the AI models called Grok 4 that was released in July, right? They actually ran it through humanity's last exam. Have you heard of that at all? Humanity's last exam? You guys did lots of exams, right? There's something called you can Google this. So this is a set of about 200 questions from across all of the sciences and social sciences that groups of PhDs cannot answer, right? But Grok 4 answered these questions successfully to 44%. The greatest PhDs, the maximum they could get these right is about 3%, okay? And soon it will be 100%, okay? But that's not the end, right? Coming really fast, right, by 2030, is the next level of AI, okay? And that's called artificial superintelligence, ASI. What does that mean? This means the AI is smarter than all of humanity combined. Now the AI is going to discover new physics, new maths, right? It's going to solve most of our medical problems. It's going to discover new biology. Can you believe this? This is 2030, okay? And just after it. So my question to all of us here, what are you doing right now to get your students ready for this reality? Okay? When I came here to Uganda this time, right before I left the United States, I had to apply for my visa 7 times in a week because of all kinds of hiccups and different things, right? I don't want to bore you with here, right? But AI does not need a visa to get into Uganda. It's coming in, no government can stop it, okay? Although governments should have some kind of guidance, right? Ethical frameworks and so on can manage it, of course, especially in the education sector. So you guys, I'm going to pause here for a second and just check in with you. Is this blowing past your mind and you're thinking, oh no, this is just in America, right? So I'd love to hear some commentary for a second here on what we've heard so far based on all this data. One of my roles here is to present to you the trends that are coming at us over the next 5 to 10 years. It's very important to know that, so that we can recalibrate, right? So that we can align our educational goals and objectives in alignment to these trends and prepare the amazing young people in Uganda for an age of abundance, or not, right? So I'd love to hear a comment from anybody. It's quite unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, please.
I don't know, not me to make a comment. Is that whether
Anything you heard so far?
Yes. Of course, we had a lot of things that were presented, but I know there's a history in which technology has been moving. And every generation has something that it brings about. Now, you talked about the job losses that many have had due to AI. And sometimes we tend to think that's an issue for the Western world. While I was listening to our president the other, he was giving strategic bottlenecks to involvement in Uganda. And this is what he said. We need infrastructure development. We need a standard gauge rail. We don't have money for that. We need irrigation because we need to be fully secure. We don't have the money for that. In Kampala here, we need a bus rapid transport system. We need access to markets in the Western world as well. You know, we have precluded from selling our products to the Western world. How relevant then is AI to us? Thank you.
Okay. So, Milton, I think we have to extend this briefing for 2 more days. I am failing miserably here, right? So, no, I appreciate what you just said, by the way. I'm just joking here, right? But I'm not really joking, right?
No, we can discuss.
No, we're discussing, yeah.
No, for the
exactly.
next 2 days.
Yeah. So this is what we were saying in the beginning. We need a lot more engagement on this. You know, what I'm presenting here is just a basically executive summary. We take 3 days to do this. I'm going to the Philippines next week. We're going to one region, the Northwest Philippines, region 1. 3 full days, not an hour. All right, to go over all of this. But you mentioned all the things that we don't have, right? In relation to AI. But you forgot to mention what you do have.
Yes.
What do you have?
We have rare minerals.
Yes.
We don't have capital to export it.
Yeah.
We have gold, iron, everything. We have water, but we are unable to irrigate the dry areas. we have food, we are unable to preserve it. Yeah. So, can you balance that with AI?
Yes. Okay. So, all right then. I'll just answer the question for you, okay? What you do have, right, is your young people. That is your #1 resource. Your young people. America would, and Europe, and Japan, and Korea, and so many other countries would give an arm and is the best with technology. Not you guys. Your young people, the ones in your classroom, okay? They can, if I had like, okay, you know how I know that? Because I had students in a mini workshop yesterday, your students, right? Yeah. You were there, yeah. Richard. It was amazing, right? How hopeful they are, right? There wasn't one single thing they were saying, we can't do this, we can't do that, how do we do this? They were saying, they looked at these are all business opportunities. This is living in Uganda is an entrepreneur's dream, okay? Because there are unlimited problems to solve. Energy, right? You need electricity, you need data centers, you need all the things you said. These are business opportunities for your young people. So that's why we're here, right? And these technological platforms combined with low Earth orbiting satellites like Starlink, right? Our young people be connected to the global economy like this. This wasn't around even a few years ago. So focus on what you do have, right? And what we have is the #1 resource ever. The country with the largest youth population on earth, right? So what kind of education are we giving them, right? So based on that input, I'd like to hear from somebody else what you think about that point. Yes, we have both of you.
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity that you are showing us in terms of the resources that we have as a nation. But from these slides, what I'm seeing is, however much we run, we may not be able to catch up with AI direction and where it's going. And even then, the way artificial intelligence is changing is unknown to the generation that's planning for the education right now. So we are sort of looking at what we have or what we're exposed to in order to prepare for the future generation.
Yes.
But this artificial intelligence and whatever it is changing almost on a weekly basis. So that whatever you devise today, tomorrow is already obsolete. So how do we then address the issue of the future with the limited tools and the capacity that we have right now?
Yes. Great question, and I'm going to answer that question in the next time I left. Okay? That question will be answered before we leave here today. All right? Okay. Did you have something to say?
It is not from what he has said.
Okay.
Actually, the question was that what are we doing to get our children prepared
Yes.
for the artificial
Yes.
intelligence? But the concern is still that artificial intelligence is moving very, very fast.
Exactly.
So I was wondering whether there is need for continued education, because I believe in the near future, everything will be done by artificial human beings.
Yes. Biological human beings, us, right? We have to manage it. It's just another tool, folks, right? It's just another piece of tech. You know, Uganda, there was a time recently when nobody in Uganda had smartphones, and you feared them. You know, this is just an American saying, but then they came here, right? Your students have them. So you've had this experience when you were without the technology, and you're thinking, oh, this will never come to Uganda. Now everybody has it, right? It's the same here. It's exactly the same. There's no difference, okay? All right? It's just the speed. Smartphones are evolving at lightning speed too, right? Remember the first smartphones and the ones today? You know, I mean, there's more power on our smartphone now than what landed the Apollo mission on the moon. Can you believe that? Okay? You can land rockets on Mars with what's in your phone if you want, right? If you want.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mine is about the future of the children. Much as we are seeing our resources, the younger children, the younger people that we have. What will be the future of their reasoning capacity?
Yeah.
Because giving them work, they just go to their hands, they have not thought of anything, and they have reasoning capacity. So what will be the future?
Okay, great question, right? So, you know, on that question, right, doesn't educators fear AI because they think the students will, we're kind of like stuck in very old patterns, right? And I'll explain all this in a second, right? It's like, how much knowledge can you retain? You give the students an assignment, and they can use ChatGPT and have it done in a minute, right? Okay, so, you know, what are we doing then? You might be asking, right? Ban AI from the schools from Uganda? It's not happening. Students, I was telling students yesterday, right, we were engaging them. Students today have to be the CEO of their own education. Because if they're not getting the education from their teachers, they've got to get it from other sources, okay? That is just, I'm just stating an obvious fact. It's pure common sense, okay? And I will go deeper into this in a minute, okay? I will answer your question too, I promise, okay? All the answers are coming, okay?
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes.
thank you, Dr. Bitfall this time. As you shared, I was actually thinking that we need to really change the way we are doing our things. It's like, wow, where are we going? And now we talk about new curriculum and we're encouraging our young people to learn to do things on their own. And sometimes teachers are not embracing. We have no option, we have to embrace. So that however much this AI thing is really moving very fast. But we take advantage of it where we can. If you can give me something, and I open and it gives me what I want, how do I take advantage of this that is on my table so that I'm able to develop myself? Have something, in place that the innovation is talking about, that the infrastructure we are talking about, how do we tap into it instead of getting scared of it?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
And we have our young people. These young people are very sharp.
Oh, very sharp.
Brilliant.
You got an easy
Push
young
them
people.
and I tell you they will even be able to move faster than the AGI you're talking about. They will be there.
Yes.
So we need to change the way we are doing our things and embrace it. Because if it is coming, we don't have to get scared because it is coming. We now think of what we should do.
Yes.
So that, we take advantage of it and see how we develop ourselves.
Yes.
That is my submission.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Very good submission. I couldn't agree with you more. Where's that lady that was there to ask?
It was a man.
That was a man. No, there was another woman too, right?
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not scared of AI. I'm just looking at it as we the planning of, let us say, the education system of Uganda may just be that all stakeholders should just be brought on board to find a mechanism of how to identify the skills, the talents and knowledge of the youth and the younger generations, and then find a mechanism of how they can share them. I think they can easily move at the speed at which AI moves.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Still, it is in relation to what other colleagues have submitted. But there is a lot of excitement in relation to AI among the children, even among the parents. Remember, I said that it is no smarter than ourselves. So as you have brought in the issue of bringing the stakeholders on board, can we think of the parents? Sometimes you find a parent being proud, the child using the AI, not even thinking that she put it. So you see, our culture, our biology issues are going to disappear, but AI cannot operate without the human being, without our thinking. So let's see how do we do that.
100%. If you look at number 4, on the blueprint, it says building great families. And what we're advocating for here, right, is that the #1 partnership between any school, TVET, or university is with families, and primarily with the parents, even the grandparents, right? And we can do a deep dive into that at some point, okay, in the not too distant future. But students, right, need guidance from their parents and from their teachers, right? No AI can substitute for that. And I will explain that in a second, by the way.
Actually, Doctor, when you look at your countries, you've used the IT, you've used technology, but your children have limits. But the challenge we have here that when a particular system or innovation is introduced, there are mechanisms to manage it. It is used in as everyone thinks. I always tell people that children in the UK, children in the US, use phones, use AI, but how do they use it? That they don't don't get spoiled, don't misuse it. So as we are looking at this, let's find a way.
Yes.
Sure.
So if you look to number 8 in the blueprint, it says harnessing AI and technology for an age of abundance. And I'll just read the first piece underneath this. In an age of powerful tools ethics must lead, right? So you won't hear this from anybody else, right? So World Peace Foundation, we're saying, we're actually advocating that, that we use AI. It's the latest tool, but it has to be guided by ethics. We have to use it for the greater benefit of humanity, and that question is essential. There's never been a time in human history when morals, universal principles and values are front and center to guide these exponential technologies so that they're used for the benefit of humanity and not for the destruction of humanity. Okay? We don't want the Terminator. Nuclear weapons, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You ever see that movie? Did that come from around that at all?
Yeah.
Back when? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about this point, right? So AI, all of you are asking the question, where do human beings fit in this equation, right? Very, very much front and center, right? Very much front and center. First of all, human beings created the AI, not some alien species, okay? Not some rogue computer program. We created it, right? So we have to have stewardship over it, you know what I mean? So there's never been a time when deeper human input is necessary, when principles and values are necessary, right? Guided by character, values, and moral and innovative leadership. And I'll explain a little bit more about all that in a second. There's a new book that came out in February of this year. I would encourage all of you here to study it. To first of all read it and then study it. I've read it myself a couple of times, right? It's called Stellar, A World Beyond Limits and How to Get There by James Arif and Tony Seaback, okay? So they talk about these, artificial intelligence and these new technological platforms that I described earlier on. And what they're saying towards the end of the book is that these transformative technological platforms must be guided by transformative human beings, okay? And transformative governments, right? And transformative ministries of education. In other words, putting it another way, right? We cannot remain in a legacy state in our own growth and development as humans. We must transform ourselves, especially leaders, right? Everyone in this room, okay? Then we can manage it. If we don't, it's going to manage us, okay? We don't want the tail wagging the dog, folks, right? Or do you? No. That means we have to step up and take leadership, right? So, just very briefly, right? Each and every single one of us in this room here, we have an opportunity, and I'm just mentioning this word opportunity, to lead in three worlds at the same time. First of all, the inner world, right? You're the CEO of yourself, right? To grow spiritually, to grow emotionally, relationally, to grow mental, cognitively, to grow in your physical vitality, right? To manage what you eat, to exercise, all of those things, right? No one else can do this for you. You're the CEO of you have to lead yourself. That's the hardest, who's the hardest group of people to lead in your experience? Is it the people at NCDC? Richard, what's harder, to lead the entire team at NCDC or to actually lead yourself?
So, leading myself.
He's an honest man. Give Richard a big round of applause here. He is an honest man. That's why we're in this position, right? It's exactly true. The hardest thing we do every day is to lead ourselves, to grow, to develop, to overcome bad habits, right? And so on and so forth, right? The second world we lead in, we have an opportunity to lead in, is in our families, right? In our families. How many people here in this room are either a son or a daughter? Raise your hands. So about 80%, so 20% do not have parents. So some of you in this room, are you saying that, let me ask this again. I'll put this another way. How many people in this room have parents? 100%. That means you are a son or a daughter, right? I know kind of like it's kind of funny saying it, but we should never take that for granted, right? So even as a son or daughter, no matter if you're 2 years old, or you're 42 years old, or 62 years old, you can still be a good son or daughter towards your parents, right? How many meals, Richard, how many meals did your mother cook in her lifetime for you?
I don't know.
It's like, we forgot, right? So imagine, right, you go home tonight, you visit your mom, right? And the minute you come in, because of her deep heart, she's going to start cooking dinner for you, right? That's what mothers do. And you say, Mom, please sit down. I'm going to cook dinner for you. You cook hundreds of thousands of meals for me, but I'm going to cook you this meal. Sit down and relax. How is that mom going to feel about you? Let me I'll ask the ladies here. If a son of yours came in and said that, how would you feel?
Very happy.
Very happy. Not happy. Very happy. So Richard, you have a task to do tonight. Okay? Because your mom will be very happy. Right? Same story if you have a brother or sister, right? You lead. You would improve those relationships. How many people here are married? You have a spouse. Imagine coming home and cooking for your wife, guys, right? And doing the dishes afterwards. So ladies, how would you think about your husband if he did that?
I'm very happy.
You see that? Very happy. Very happy. Now guys, all the men here, right? I'm giving you the secret of happy marriages here, right? Your wife will be all over you. She'll be kissing you right left and center. You won't know what's going on. And the same with the wives towards the husbands. Now let me ask the husbands here. Well, let me ask Richard. He's the chairman, right? He's right behind me. He's a good man. He's a good guy here, right? So Richard, imagine, right? Tomorrow, right? No, imagine this afternoon. You're taking out some of the tea here for a meal to discuss this briefing here, right? And of course, being the leader here, you want to pay for the meal, right? And then you open up your wallet, right? You open up your wallet. You take out your credit card, right? And then there's this little message here. I saw this in the wallet before. You open it up, it's from your wife. And it says, Richard, I really, really love you. How do you feel if you read such a message? Very excited. Very excited. Back to the meeting and say, guys, we have to end really quick, right? I got something I have to go to next. You don't have an important meeting. You can't wait to get on to your wife, right? So you guys get to talk about here, we can, even now, we can take new leadership in these familial roles, right? Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
I don't know why the family skipped over all the time, right? Please convey this message to your young people, right? They're not getting any guidance. They're all going to create families and they have no guidance. They're in school for 16 years. No one is guiding them. You think they need to be guided a little bit?
Yes.
Well, Milton said yes. What about the rest? What NCDC? What do you guys think? Do you think we should create a marriage and family center here? Right? And it could be a parallel thing in your schools and so on and so forth. I mean, it's just an idea here, right? All it is a soft suggestion, but make it happen. Okay. And then we need in the outer world. For all of us here in the room, the outer world is the education sector. We need to lead in this sector based on everything we said. We have to do things differently. We have to do new things, and that's why we must collaborate together. Not just all of us here in this room, but bring more partners in. the giant effort, right? This should trigger a massive set of new actions, right? As Milton was pointing out, a whole series of transforming education leadership workshops, right? That are urgently needed, okay? So the current education system, right? Let me go back to here. So the current system that you have here in Uganda, that we have in the United States, that we have in Great Britain, is the same one that's been around since the 19th century. Okay? It's 300 years old. It's the production line. We call it the conventional educational system. Here in Africa, it's an import. It's not even yours. You imported it, right? And it's no longer relevant. It's no longer relevant. AI tutor will take them through the various lessons, right? That's it. There is no more instruction, period, right? There are no exam learning. So you might ask, well, how do these students perform compared to their peers at other schools in Texas? They outperform their peers by 2 to 2.5 times. And all your students are getting 6 to 8 hours of instruction, right? And then in the afternoon, right, the afternoon is not academics. It is real-world workshops and life skills, right? Where students get involved in being an entrepreneur, financial literacy, doing mastermind projects, right? And there's kind of motivational tools as well. I want to spotlight the role of the teacher. The role of the teacher is no longer a transmitter of knowledge. They're a guide, a mentor, a coach. That is what it means to be a moral leader in education today. There are no lectures or grading. The emphasis is on growth in all dimensions. And the graduates from the Alpha schools, 95% attend four-year colleges, which is unbelievable, right? Compared to regular schools.
Please.
Okay? And over 90% of the students report they love their school. 90%, okay? So the integrate AI for personalization is a shift from teacher to guiding. Let's move to, the Fortune 500 companies. And I'll spotlight one company, Tesla. Have you heard of Tesla? The electrical cars, now they're autonomous, right? So Elon Musk, the founder, I'm just spotlighting one of the Fortune 500 companies, right, are the 500 largest companies in the United States, right? Often called the S&P 500. So Elon Musk, when he founded Tesla back in 2002, he interviewed the first 500 employees, right? And what he was interviewing for, the first thing he was interviewing for was character. Is this a good person, right? Does this person have a positive attitude? How are they as an individual, right? The next thing he's interviewing for is relationships. How does this person affect others? How do others like working with him or not, right? Are people going to like working with him or her? Next is skills, their ability to solve problems, and the decisions they made in solving that problems personally, right? Number 4 is application of knowledge, direct responsibility for significant accomplishments. And you know the most amazing thing he said? He said that evidence, he said in terms of evidence of exceptional ability, he's looking for that, but it's not necessarily the case to work at Tesla to have a high school credential or a college degree. The only people that care about that today are educators, right? But the real world out there, they don't care about that because they know that that is not the totality of who the person is and how they're going to perform and the investment they're going to make into transforming that company. And so Tesla and the other 5 Fortune 500 companies, they're hiring on this model. They're hiring on the transformative education model, right? Not the conventional model. They're hiring on character, relationships, energy and vitality, and the application of knowledge. And he said that the biggest past mistake he made was hiring on this model, paying too much attention to IQ, to intellectual capability alone, and ignoring the other dimensions, right? Warren Buffett, I mentioned him earlier, his hiring criteria is first and foremost character. He calls it integrity, right? Next is initiative, next is energy, and next is intelligence. And what he said is that the worst thing is to hire an intelligent person without character, initiative, and energy, right? So intelligence is the last thing companies are hiring on. Because a really smart person without character is a misguided, that person is going to destroy the company, okay? And companies are no longer hiring with that. The question for us here, are we nurturing this one? We're only nurturing this. What about these ones, right? The other three dimensions. We need to hop on this like yesterday, right? I can't wait to see the new NCDC curriculum for 2026. Nurturing all 4 human dimensions, right? You think that's possible?
Yes.
You think that's mission possible or mission impossible? Richard, is this impossible or is it possible?
It's possible.
See, now Milton, take note of that.
Yes.
The deputy director of NCDC said this is possible.
Possible.
So Richard, we will work with you, right? We'll collaborate together to make this a reality, okay? Is that exciting you or not?
Yes.
Yeah. Very, Richard?
Very much.
Very much excited, okay? Very much excited. Yeah. Okay. Another company, Pixar, right? They make all the 3D animation movies, right? Ed Catmull, who co-founded it with Steve Jobs at Apple, he wrote a book called Creativity Inc. And, you know, it was all about the creativity of the founding team. He was in a meeting at one point, right, and he mentions that this came up in the last 3 pages of the book, right? Somebody asked him, you know, Ed, what is the difference that made the difference at Pixar? So when I read that statement, I said, I know the answer. I've been reading about creativity for 300 pages. It's the creativity of the founding members. No. He said something unbelievably surprising. He said it was the character of the founding members. The character of the founding members. That's what made the creativity came after that, right? Okay? So we're on a mission to transform education in the Global South towards 2050. Why the Global South? Because 90% of the 1.2 billion students live in the Global South, and then you have Uganda here. We're in Uganda, right? 70% are young people, right? By 2050, 1 in 4 people on Earth are Africans. What kind of Africans are they going to be? Are they going to be good people? Are they going to be people of good character? Are they going to be? Are they not going to be corrupt? Are they not going to take bribes? This is the kind of generation that it's our responsibility to have that as an outcome. Is that mission possible or mission impossible? Mission possible with a few difficulties along the way, right? Yes. Okay. So to find out more, right, this is just an executive summary. We will go way more in depth in our 3-day Transforming Education Leadership Workshop. And I want you to
Oh, you're taking my bag.
There's a sense of urgency here, okay? We
Good.
get a lot of partners on board to do this, and we want to do 3 more in 2026 at minimum. There should be even more than that, right? But at minimum, right? So what I want you to do, I'm going to give you, you're educators, right? Don't you love giving homework, right? Absolutely love it, right? It's like, there's no way you end a class without giving some homework. Today, you're the students, and I'm the teacher, right? Just for 1 hour, okay? So I'm going to give you homework, okay? At the bottom of this page, there's a website, right? It is this website up here. Tonight, I want you to go there, and I want you to specifically start reading the Blueprint for Transforming Education position paper. This is just the flyer. The position paper is about 40 pages long. It goes in depth on each one of these strategic points. This is your compass to transform education here in
You explained, I
right?
talked to you.
I just gave you an overview just now, right? How many people here are going to do this
He's
homework?
trying to say Liz should serve only the
Brilliant.
women.
So, Richard,
Those who
you
want.
can set up a special MNE
That is why he's
situation
looking
here and
like
verify that they all did it, right?
Hmm?
Oh, we have. Where's the enemy officer? Where's the enemy? Okay. You were just given a massive responsibility, right? You have to follow up, even the teams that are not with NCDC, right? Can you do that?
Liz.
Brilliant. So you follow up with them, and then after you read it, guys come back together again and have another discussion about it. Okay? Not just read it, you come back and discuss it again and again, right? Yeah. Okay? So, in conclusion,
Ezra is trying to say you only serve those who want.
Uganda
Auntie, that's what he's trying to say.
activation. This is mission, it will not be the mission now.
Yes.
Right? It be immediate, starting now and going way through 2026. So, you know, we're not looking too far out, but this is what we want to do. We want you to step up as educational stakeholders and sponsor with about 200 top educational leaders in Uganda, 1 before the end of the year and 3 in 2026. Is that doable?
Yes.
Right. Next, focus. So MOE, who do we want in these workshops? Ministry of Education department heads, Uganda County leaders, supervisors, superintendents, influencers, even bring in university folks, events, and other educational stakeholders, right? The goal here is to cascade the content down to the individual schools, into the individual classroom. That's the purpose of the people coming. So bring the leaders, right? We're going to be nurturing leaders. Next, right? Global Peace Foundation is about to release an exciting new product called the Transforming Education online course. Everything we do in the in-person workshops, right? But now it's online. And the way we're going to do it, right, is that sponsors, the NCDC, could be any sponsors here, is to purchase subscriptions, right? In blocks of 50, 100, 250, 500, 1,000, right? And then there'll be options of 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, right? So that your stakeholders, the people that you're leading, can actually get exposed to what we were doing here this afternoon, more in depth, right? So this ensures ongoing access at scale. This is how we can scale up very quickly. We spent 2 years developing this, right? We're about to release it, okay? And then partner, right? Partner to host the East Africa Transforming Education Conference in 2026, okay? The East Africa Transforming Education. So Uganda will have a massive delegation, and Kenya will have Kenya is here in Kenya. We'll also engage Rwanda, right? What are the other countries? Tanzania,
and
Burundi,
and
Sudan,
the DRC.
the DRC. Okay. So probably less representatives from them, but the primary ones will be from Uganda and Kenya. These are the 2 countries we're working with primarily. Okay. So, Richard, when do we get started on this work?
I thought about starting.
We already started. That's actually better than what I'm showing on the screen. On the screen it says, let's get started now, because there's an urgency to this, that students are alive in the classroom. But you're ahead of me here, right? We've already, that's better than this. Milton, give the NCDC. So thank you, folks. It's been an honor to be with you here this afternoon. I apologize if I was strong with you, right? but I'm not here just to be polite, right? I'm here to encourage all of us, including myself the most, right? To do more, you know what I mean? Because there is a set of ordinances. I'm this way because I got designated as a son of Uganda.
Yes.
That's how African God is me, right? Yeah, and I drink Ugandan tea, right? So by drinking the tea, that means a coffee, Ugandan coffee. That means now my blood is changing, right? It's Ugandan coffee. Thank you very much.
Dr. Tolentine, thank you. Wow. What do you think, my brothers and sisters? What do you think about this whole thing? Chairman, just a minute. What do you think? Because you told us that it was already, just on behalf of all of us.
I think we'll first give them another round of applause.
Thank you, Chairman.
So we have greatly honored for that presentation. So we have opened our mind to many things. Of course, many of these issues we know, but self-reflection is very important. So as indicated, if you are to transform, start with yourself. So it has triggered our minds to think about what is happening in our own lives, what is happening in the society, and what is happening globally. Of course, as NCDC, we started long time. We are only now catching up with artificial intelligence. But the character formation, value formation, promotion of skills, critical thinking, problem solving, those are the tenets of the competence-based curriculum. So we started the journey a long time ago, but we only have to change our approaches to fit in the new era of artificial intelligence and continuously reflect on how artificial intelligence impacts on our work, how artificial intelligence impacts on the education sector, and our responsibilities as parents. So I think the next session, according to the program, is a session of discussion.
Yes.
And I will hand over to the director to handle that one.
Thank you, Chair. Once again, we clap for him. We have a good chair. He's already calling us to action, already in the play. And members, each one of you, one, you should have something to eat. Two, we would like to recognize members that came in, I will not say late, but there was jam in town. I can recognize that. Members, I can see my elder. Please introduce yourself if you know you came a little bit. Please, you're welcome, my elder.
Good afternoon, members. Sheikh Juma Chuchu is my name, but not the Chuchu of Uganda. I'm somebody from here I'm the Secretary of Education in Uganda Muslim Supreme Council. You're welcome. You rightly said I was not late, but I was delayed by the job.
Yes.
You guessed it right.
Yes, I was in that job.
Yes.
You're welcome, our elder, our yes, you can introduce yourself.
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ramu Uni Henry, and incidentally, one of my name, you might know what I make. But now is very fun and it's important. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Someone else, please, who came in a little bit late?